Hello and welcome to Advent of Code Day 1. What is Advent of Code? It is this website, adventofcode.com, and there will be a new programming puzzle every day starting today on December the 1st until Christmas. And I am going to try to solve all of them, most of them, some of them. Let's see. I'm by no means an expert on programming puzzles, and I will just try my best. And I think it's fine if I won't solve some of them. That's totally fine. It doesn't make you a bad programmer or whatever. And I will be using Kotlin to try to solve all those puzzles, and you can follow along and be an armchair programmer if you wish to be, which means like just sit down, relax, and tell me in the comments whatever I do wrong, or how you would solve this puzzle. I decided to not stream those since there's a leaderboard and so on, and I didn't want to spoil solutions, so I will just record them and then upload the solution, or me trying to find a solution, maybe a day later. So let's start with day 1. And this is the website. There's usually a small story and then a description of what the problem is and what the solution should be. And then at the end, there's a way for us to verify that we actually solved this problem. But let's just see. So, day 1, Sonar Sweep. You're minding your own business on a ship at sea. When the overboard alarm goes off, you rush to see if you can help. Apparently, one of the elves tripped and accidentally sent the sleigh's keys flying into the ocean. Before you know it, you're inside the submarine. The elves keep ready for situations like this. It's covered in Christmas lights, because of course it is. And it even has an experimental antenna that should be able to track the keys if you can boost its signal strength high enough. There's a little meter that indicates the antenna's signal strength by displaying 0 to 50 stars. Okay. Your instincts tell you that in order to save Christmas, you'll need to get all 50 stars by December the 25th. Collect stars by solving puzzles. 2 puzzles will be made available on each day in the Advent calendar. The second puzzle is unlocked when you complete the first. Each puzzle grants 1 star. Good luck. Alright, so that means if I understand it correctly, it's the first time, by the way, I'm doing Advent of Code. If I understand this correctly, we need to do 2 puzzles today, and we can collect 2 stars today. Alright. As the submarine drops below the surface of the ocean, it automatically performs a sonar sweep of the nearby seafloor. On a small screen, the sonar sweep report, your puzzle input, appears. Each line is a measurement of the seafloor depth as the sweep looks further and further away from the submarine. For example, suppose you had the following report. Bunch of numbers. This report indicates that scanning outward from the submarine, the sonar sweep found depth of 199, 200, 208, and 210, and so on. The first order of business is to figure out how quickly the depth increases, just so you know that you are dealing with. Just so you know what you are dealing with. You never know if the keys will get carried into deeper water by an ocean current or a fish or something. To do this, count the number of times a depth measurement increases from the previous measurement. There's no measurement before the first measurement. In this example above, the changes are as follows. No increase. First one. Increased from 199 to 200. It increased. It decreased. Then it increased. Decreased. In this example, there are 7 measurements that are larger than the previous measurement. How many measurements are larger than the previous measurement? To play, please identify yourself via one of the following services. Oh, I haven't done this yet, so cut. And I'm logged in via GitHub. So, what has changed since I logged in? How many measurements are larger than a previous measurement? To begin, get your puzzle input. So we need to submit the answer. And here we can get the input. Let's see. Okay. Bunch of numbers. Save this. And then let's switch to IntelliJ. Let's make a file. Day 1. And start with the main function, and then let's copy over code file to the root folder, I guess. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I have never done Advent of Code before. I did participate in Google Code Jam a couple of times. Got very complicated pretty fast. And the problem about Code Jam is also that you need to participate at a very specific time. It's kind of the same for Advent of Code, apparently, if you want to be on the leaderboards. But apart from that, you can do the riddles whenever you want. Let's see. Let's go back to the puzzle. So we just need to count the increases from the previous one. That seems super simple. Like super simple. But it also said 2 puzzles will be made available on each day. So maybe the first one is simple and the second one will not be that simple at all. But that for now looks like an easy thing to solve with a loop. So let's do this. First, maybe let's actually try to load this file. We need this file, and then there should be a Kotlin function to just give us lines, I think. Yeah, lines. Let's just print them to see that everything is working. Awesome, that looks like the numbers. So now we just count, I guess. And then we remember the source, since we need to compare with the previous number, right? Yeah. So current, oh, those are strings now, so I guess we need to map them first and turn them into integers. To int, yeah. And see, 2 months. Okay. Current. Wait, this is not valid. Equals 9. All right. So if we do not have a previous number, which is only true for the first one, and we just skip. And if there's one, for the next time. But before we do this, we need to compare it. If previous, if current one is larger, right? Increases, yeah. it's always false? I'm confused. Set it to null here. What? What did I miss? We map it to an int, loop over it. The previous one is an int. And this one, for some reason, even though we have to check here, doesn't able to run it once. Oh, of course, we also have to print it. Increase count. I'm really confused by this. Yeah, I need some coffee. 0 increases, so this is definitely true. That this is always false, but why? Oh. Of course, yeah. We always need to set this. Now, before that, we also set it to the actual number once we went inside this if statement, but of course it was never not null because we never executed this line, but we want to do this for each. All right, now let's run the thing again. Okay, 1233. Let's see if this is the right answer. That's the right answer. Awesome. First gold star. Let's see part 2. Part 2. Considering every single measurement isn't as useful as you expected. There's just too much noise in the data. Instead, consider sums of a 3 measurement sliding window. Again, considering the above example. A, B, A, B, C, B, C, D. What? Let's see. Start by comparing the first and second 3 measurement windows. The measurements in the first window are marked A, 199, 200, and 208. So those 3. The sum is 607. The second window is marked 200, 208, 210. Oh, okay, now I think I understand this image better. Its sum is 680, and the sum of measurements in the second window is larger than the sum of the first. So the first comparison increased. Your goal is now to count the number of times the sum of measurements in the sliding window increases from the previous sum. So compare A with B, then compare B with C, then C with D, and so on. Stop when there aren't enough measurements left to create a new 3 measurement sum. Okay. Here's the example, so that is the sum. So what this actually wants to say is A, measurement group A is those 3, and B are the next 3 starting with the second one, so on. Okay. Example. Okay, and then we need to count again. So the big question is, how do we create those groups? We could... How could we do this? We could loop over the list and always take 3. I think that's even a function in Kotlin. Take 3, sum them up into a new list, or maybe even keep it. It's not. What I'm wondering is, do we want to calculate the sum immediately once we know the 3 values, or do we just want to create a new list with the sums and then compare them, essentially do it in 1 step or 2 step? Not sure yet, but let's move this to some other place so that we can keep it. Day 1, part 1. This. And now we want to execute day 1, part 2. From main. Maybe we can. Well, it's probably not worth it to create a function just for reading this. Let's see, do we want to build a list of sums? A B, because we could actually reuse this code now, I think. Because if we create those sums, and we have a list just with the sums, then it's the same problem that we just solved. So maybe after all, we want to actually do this. Count increases. Let's make this an... Yeah, let's make this an extension function. Why not? If we have a list of int, we want to count the increases and return them. This will essentially this. The end, we return the count. And I think now we actually want a helper that reads this, because we also need to map to int, to values, and ints. This will this. And this means day 1 will be reduced to count. First we need the values. Then we say values, count increases, and if we run this again, it should still say 1233. Okay, this still works. So let's execute day 2 now. Do the same, read the values. Now we create a new list which contains the sums. And then we pass it into our count increases function. Okay. How do we want to do this? We could... What I'm wondering is there's a nice operator on collections that makes this just nice to write. Avoids us having to write and comparisons and so on ourselves. could sublist. We could create sublists, sum them up. Yeah, maybe we try this. Values. It's not awesome because we probably do a lot of unnecessary work. But this list is small. 2,000 entries, that it's still cheap enough to do. So if we have the new values at some point, we say count increases, and we will print it again. So the only thing left is to create the number of new. Let's maybe just simplify. Or the indices. I think that's what I'm looking for, right? Returns an int range. And ideally I want to shorten the int range because I don't want the last. If we go here, if you have 269, 260 and 263, this is the point where we want to stop, because at this point 260 there are not 3 values anymore, so we need to essentially stop here. So we might want to reduce this range by 2 or 3. That's like now the 1 by off error that is going to happen here. Reducing by 1, reducing by 2, I think. How can I this subtract 2? What does subtract on a range do? Oh, that is, yeah, that is another list. Okay, then maybe let's do it differently. For index in, and then we do if index is smaller than value size 2. Value size 2. Thank you for those hints, IntelliJ. That would be annoying to debug. Okay, and now we only need to say new value at values index plus values plus values plus 2. If there's now one off by 1 error, we probably will get an error here. Let's run it. Let's see. All right, we got a number. Let's see if it's the correct number though. That's the right answer. Awesome. We have completed day 1. That was not that hard yet. I'm curious what's coming next. Let me know in the comments how you solved the problems. I will upload my solution to GitHub, and I will link the repository in the description of this video. And I hope to see you tomorrow again. And bye bye.